Hello and welcome to the first tutorial video of the channel. My name is Kieran, and in this tutorial I'm going to look at the installation of Windows Server 2008 or 2 on Oracles VirtualBox. So before we go anywhere near the installation process, we first have to see if our system can accommodate the OS. An easy way to do this is just simply Google it. So we go onto Google and we just simply Google Windows Server 2008 or 2 specs or requirements. You'll see down here what I find to be best is the Wikipedia entry. If you go in down here now, go to additions, and you'll see here system requirements. So we have here, you can see the minimum for Windows Server 2008 or 2 over here is 512 megabytes of RAM, 1.4 gigahertz. You can read it yourselves. Now the only thing I'll say is your system may be able to meet that requirement, but bear in mind that you're running a virtual machine off your main operating system, so you're going to want to have a lot more than this because your system has to be able to run while this is running in the background. So we're just going to quickly check now to see if our system can actually run this. You do this by going down here to the start menu, you go to computer, you right click, you go to properties, and here we can see what our system is like. So you can see here I have i7 quad core 2.4 gigahertz, 12 gig RAM and a 64-bit operating system. So I more than meet the minimum requirements. So we're all good to go. Okay, so for this tutorial all you need is Oracles VirtualBox and an ISO of Windows Server 2008 or 2. Now the installation of VirtualBox I'm not going to be showing, but it's straightforward enough when you're getting off the VirtualBox website, and it is straightforward. It has step by steps anyway, so you're fine. So the first thing you need to do in VirtualBox is to create a new machine. So if you go into your VirtualBox, and you'll see here on the top left you'll have new. So if you go into new, you have this. So this pop-up box now. So we're going to give it a name. So I'm going to call it Windows Server 08 or 2. Now you get your type of operating system, so it's Microsoft Windows, that's fine. The version, okay, you go in here, we can make all different types of versions of OSs. So what I'm going to do is, because I can't see Windows Server 08 here, there is a Windows 08, but I'm just going to go down here to other Windows 64-bit, because I'm installing a 64-bit version. So we just hit next. Now this is the required memory size. Now in the minimum requirements it said 512 megabytes. That's fine, but I've found in the past that if you give it less, if you give it the minimum, what will happen on VirtualBox is the system starts to hang. So because I have the RAM to do it, I'm going to give it 6 gig of RAM, so that's 6,144 megabytes. And now we have to create a virtual hard drive. So this is basically creating the hard drive that the virtual machine will run off. So I'm going to create the virtual hard drive now. You can not create one, create it later if you want, or you can use an existing one that's already there. So I'm just gonna, you're fine, just hit VirtualBox disk image. Now you have the choice between dynamically allocated memory or fixed size. As you can see there, dynamically allocated means that the space of memory, or not memory, of hard drive space will increase as you need it. Now it will not decrease if you start deleting stuff, but as you can see there it says it takes longer when it has to fill up. Whereas a fixed size takes longer to make in the beginning, but you have that size at all times. It won't get bigger, it won't get smaller. So I'm going to go ahead with fixed size. Now the operating system itself takes up about 8 gigabyte of hard disk space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it 20 gig. So we meet the 10 gig minimum requirement, and I have enough space to install the operating system itself. So we'll just hit create there. As you can see now, this is the timer's going to go up for a while, so I'm just going to skip ahead here. Okay, so I skipped ahead there in the creation process of the hard drive, the hard disk space. Altogether, it took about 5 minutes. So yeah, so I'll go get a cup of tea or something while you're doing that. So here we have now create the virtual hard drive. That's fine. So as you can see now, the machine's been made. Okay, so we have our machine right here. So we go on to the machine now. and it's asked us where do we want to start up from. So this is where you can start up from an ISO, whether you have that on your actual computer or not, in a file, or you start up from a CD or from a USB. To any that don't know, this is an ISO here, if I can find it. Apologies for all the random TV shows you might see. If you go in here, that's an ISO there, so a disk image file. This is what I originally tried to use, but something's wrong. The ISO is corrupted. I don't know what's wrong. It won't boot from it. So I'm actually going to boot from a CD now. So if I'm just going to hit host drive D, that's fine. Start. Okay, so for me now when it starts, I have to hit F12, and you see the list you get here now. So I'm going to boot from CD, and it's just as if you're installing an OS onto your actual computer. You'd go into the BIOS menu and you'd hit boot from CD or boot from USB. So now, as you can see, this is just, to anyone that has installed OSs before, this is all very familiar territory now. So we're just going to skip ahead here. Okay, skip ahead there. So Windows is loading files and starting Windows. Apologies for the camera software at the top right of the screen there, but every time I try to minimize it and then maximize it again, the whole screen has a fit, so it's just easier to leave it up in the corner. So here we go now, just select the language, English, and then just for me to be awkward, Irish. So here we go, install now. You'll have these here up the top of your screen when you create virtual machines. You can ignore them for now. If you want, you can click on them and you can read what they do. But for now, I'm just going to click out of them. So what you have here now is you have your different choices of operating system types. So when you're doing your research on your system requirements, you can actually look at the different ones, what they offer. So standard, enterprise, data center, and web server all offer very different things. And you'll see here full installation and server core installation. Now the difference between them is full installation has a GUI. For those of you that don't know what a GUI is, it's graphical user interface. Basically, everything you see that you're used to in an operating system. And server core installation is pure command line. So if you like using CMD, all that kind of stuff, CLI command line interface, and you want it to practice, work away. But for now, we're going to do the full installation, so we're going to have the GUI. So I'm going to install the enterprise version. So next there. Accept the terms and conditions. That's fine. Right, so custom. And here's our virtual hard disk that we made earlier on. You see we gave it 20 gig. Next. And Windows is installing now. So this can take a few minutes, maybe a bit more. It depends on your computer, really. So I'm just going to skip past all this first. Okay, so since that last screen, the OS has installed and it's now rebooted the system. So it doesn't actually restart your actual machine, it just restarts the virtual machine. So these are just more steps along the installation. Okay, so you see we're back down to the screen now, and it's completing the installation now. So I'll just skip past all this as well. Okay, so all that's happened now is that the machine restarted again, and now it's preparing the machine for first use. So you see here that the user's password will change before logging on for the first time. Grand. So it makes you automatically have the account administrator. Now, if you're installing, say, Windows 7, the first thing you get for first time use is to create a user account. On Windows Server, it's different. So the first thing you get is the administrator. So now for the administrator, you have to make a password. So I'm just going to make my password here now. So and that's me done. There we go. So now it's getting ready for first time use. And there you go. There is the basic installation of Windows Server 2008 or 2 Enterprise Edition on Oracle's VirtualBox. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time. Thanks, bye.